forcing myself to sit down and film this style of video and kind of do almost this like testimonial confession. For whatever reason, I don't know, I feel really compelled to kind of make this, and I watch a lot of videos like this. Like I kind of touched on in my last little vlog, I've been wanting to sit down and make a video pertaining cancer and how I feel like it has shaped and impacted me in more ways than I had originally thought when I got diagnosed. It is still this, although I'm not dealing with it anymore, overlooming factor in every single day that I live in my 20s. I in no way want to come off preachy. I think that that is also something that has been really holding me back. I just fear that I'm gonna be seen as someone who can't get over, in retrospect, small aspect of my life and small chapter of my life. At the end of the day is my story and something that I was able to overcome, and I think that as I've grown and learned and experienced it more and realized there's no one else in this world that is able to kind of tell me how I feel like it impacts me on a day-to-day basis. They're not living in my skin. No one that I'm afraid of telling me to stop is in any sort of place to tell me to stop. So I think that that is what I have come to terms with, but I'll get to that at the end. If you don't know anything kind of about me and my story with cancer and getting diagnosed, I was diagnosed with stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer at 20 years old. It was a 6-month process up until the point of actually getting diagnosed, where I was just dealing with symptoms and trying to figure out what doctors to see. At first I thought it was psychological because I do deal with a lot of like mental health issues. I thought that my anxiety was just so off the charts, which it was, but I thought that that's what was causing it to then manifest into physical symptoms, and also what doctors were telling me as well too. They were like, your anxiety is just bad, you know, you're coming into the ER, you're getting your blood drawn, all your markers are showing that everything's fine. It really kind of felt like I was being gaslit in a way. I was like, I feel like my body is literally screaming at me and telling me that something's off, but I have all of these people that are much smarter than me telling me that like it's not that. Also people around me too. I think it got to a point where we were all kind of exhausted trying to figure out what was going on with me, that we kind of just accepted what we were hearing from these doctors. It was really frustrating for a period of time to just feel like I wasn't really being heard, or that I wasn't being taken seriously. I felt like I was dying and there was nothing that anyone could do to kind of stop it. Mental health and my physical health at that point in my life, and even throughout treatment and beyond, they all kind of played their own parts and really bounced off of one another in this weird sort of relationship that I can't really describe, that I don't think people will really be able to understand unless they're in that situation themselves as well too. You're trying so hard to honor your body and honor what you feel like it's telling you, but at the same time you're also like being tugged away towards everything else that everyone else is telling you. And all this to say too, I am no health expert. I am just talking about all of this from a personal story, personal perspective standpoint. I always kind of say that I feel like I have this obligation to do so. Like some part of me, this woo-woo spiritual religious part of me, believes that I made it out the other end to kind of have this purpose of better help prepare at least like one person with their journey going into something as unpredictable and as unprecedented as cancer is in someone's life. Another part of me is kind of like, no, like that is the spiritual woo-woo in you. Like you are just doing too much. I'm kind of learning to lean into the juju and woo-woo-ness. I think one thing that I am really grateful for was that I had hope from the beginning that I wasn't going to go out that way. I think no matter how much fear or days where it felt like I couldn't beat it, or that like it felt I was in a really dark way, getting closer to kind of being consumed by cancer and dealing with that. That's my soft launch to me saying death, because I don't even want to like think about the possibility of me dying that way. That was obviously in the back of my mind throughout all of it. I had a really big fear of death since I was little, but I think that my hope and just like faith in myself that I was going to make it through and that I was going to be strong enough really outweighed any sort of fear or lingering feelings that was what I thought was going to happen to me. Like any time that I lose a little bit of stamina or just feel like, fuck, can I really do another treatment? Can I really go to another appointment? Can I really step into another doctor's office right now? I immediately like had to snap out of it. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. There was no like hesitation for me, because I had so much hope and so much just like, no, you can't even think that way. Like you have to believe, you have to think that you are going to see this through. You have to envision yourself being the best version of yourself. You have to envision yourself beyond this, because if you don't, you are going to be consumed by this. I think I'd literally gaslit myself in another way, that like if I didn't envision myself and didn't sit down and I would journal for hours, I would journal for hours in my room, on my notes app, on my actual physical journal, just about like, I can't wait for what I'm gonna look like, or what I'm gonna eat, or where I'm gonna live, or what I'm gonna do after college. Like I would just envision and just like see this like huge picture of my life, and that is what kept me going throughout all of it. And that might sound like the most basic cliche thing, but I really do think that I manifested my life today. I'm here exactly the way that I envisioned it. I wrote out all of these things for myself and what I wanted out of my life, and I've made a lot of it happen. I think that I don't know how I did it, I just did. And I think because I was in a state where I had to, and I just had to out of survival, I did. And I think that now, knowing that I'm capable of that and that I'm able to kind of manifest my way out of things and pray my way out of things, is a weird power that I feel like I harness in a weird woo-woo-woo way, obviously. I think I come across a lot of pessimistic viewpoints and a lot of fear-mongering-esque people and content, and people that are so consumed by their own fears that they end up projecting it onto other people, and I just could never or ever wanted to be that kind of person. And I feel like if I'm able to kind of combat that in any way, I hope that I'm able to do so by telling you to have hope. I hope that I'm able to do so by telling you that you are literally able to change your life with your mind, and that it will not be easy. It doesn't mean that you won't have things that throw you off and get you close to death and get you close to places that you didn't actually manifest or wanted to be at, but it doesn't mean that it won't eventually come, and it doesn't mean that it won't eventually see itself through. I think that that was one thing with manifesting for me too for a while, that I had a really weird relationship with it. Kind of convinced myself that like I had manifested cancer upon myself, or that I had accidentally like done it to myself in some sort of way. And I think that when you're confused by how it happened and you have no one to blame, you kind of ultimately just blame yourself and blame what you feel like you do have control over. And I felt like, well, if I have control to manifest the things I want in my life, like of course I'm manifesting also all the bad things, so like it is my fault, it is my, maybe I shouldn't have been doing this or this or this, that, like it's all just like mush in my head now that I'm like all of these things. I don't subscribe to that. I don't believe that. I don't take that into consideration in anything that I do anymore, because I genuinely can't. My brain isn't wired like that anymore, and there's no room for that, because when you are about to face death and you're in a life or death situation, and it is one mental note that you have to make of like, no, I actually am gonna see this through, and even if I die by this, at least I died trying, and at least I died thinking and hoping for a bigger life beyond this. I don't necessarily have like a good outro for this video. I think that this is a continued conversation that I want to keep having, and I think that by kind of leaving it a little open-ended allows me to keep talking about it going forward in other videos. But I think if I was able to come across a video like this where it was someone who had overcome it, and look at my hair now, not to like be vain also too, but look at my hair now. Like genuinely, back when I was bald and like couldn't look at myself in the mirror because I genuinely was so just irritated at the state of my life, I would run into the bathroom, use the bathroom, and like wash my hands, not even look up, because I couldn't face myself. I had known that I would get this healthy, beautiful hair back. Oh my god, like that would have been enough to get me through for that week, you know what I mean? Like having things to visualize and having things to actually see for yourself are so important, and really do help you like mentally in a weird way I don't understand. There's a lot of things I don't understand in this world, and I'm always trying to figure out everything and every answer to everything, and that has also been something that I have had to let go of. Just being a young, now 23-year-old girl, I have come to terms with the fact that I will never have the answer to everything or anything that I actually want, but I will continue to try and persist to find the answers and find remedies to find the answers to things that I want. Throughout cancer, the only thing that I was really trying to find was peace, but I've only been able to get there by having hope and by visualizing what today would look like in my house, my hair, my body, my clothes, everything is, although not what I deem today what I want anymore, is exactly what the 21-year-old version of myself would have wanted. This is all she could have wanted. So how can I be ungrateful? How can I be mad? How can I go about my days today being or feeling like I am living in lack when I'm not? I'm living in abundance. I'm living in so much more abundance compared to where I was 2 years ago. And I think that being at such that low point now only makes me see up. It's kind of a paradox to kind of how I felt when I got diagnosed, where I felt like I had really hit rock bottom. That wasn't even the rock bottom that I had hit yet, kid. Like, that was just the tip of the iceberg, and you were gonna go down. It's like the iceberg theory. Like, getting diagnosed is here, everything else is literally right here. It's true. Anyway, like I was saying, I don't have a good outro for this video. I just really want to thank you guys for listening to me yap. If you've listened to me yap this long, there will be much more videos and contemplating and ruminating and figuring shit out on this channel. So I hope that you stick along. I hope that if you have any questions or want to kind of discuss, text me, comment below, DM me. I might not respond. I'm actually really bad at responding, and I respond in my head a lot of the time, but my DMs are always open. Feel free to kind of use me as like a board where you just like throw all your chats and ideas towards me, you know what I mean? Okay, anyway, sorry. That is all for today. Thank you guys so much for listening. Appreciate it a lot, and have a great rest of your day. All right, bye.